Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Sunday morning. I try to start early, and I'm telling you, lately, getting into YouTube is hard. I get stuck in a little bit of a loop. Welcome, everybody. Just had our solar eclipse. Pluto has started its retrograde. Glory be. Lovely, lovely. So exciting. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Sacred Owl. Hi, Posted Up. Hi, Welsh. Hi, Small Wildflowers. Hi, Juan. Did I miss anybody? Hope not. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of jump in with a real quick. Hi, Natalia. We've got some transits today. We have Jupiter and Venus conjunct in Pisces at 28 degrees. So this is very lovely. It's interesting to me because as I have this transit has made me want to eat salty foods. I don't know what it is, but I feel like ever since Neptune and Jupiter were conjunct, I have wanted peanuts and popcorn and potato chips, and I'm turning into a big salt lick, I feel like. So I want to offer this as a kind of a Piscean thing because, you know, Pisces is a fish. Fish swim in both fresh and salt water. So be mindful a little bit of how your body is responding to what you're eating during this transit. It's also making a sextile to Pluto right now as Pluto goes retrograde. So I really think this is an opportunity to take that 12th house energy and really review, reflect, kind of sit back and look and see if indeed the things that you're endeavoring in the way of when I want to say Jupiter, I almost want to go into going into foreign ideas, foreign places, even, I mean, it could be literal foreign travel, but it might be with Venus there, thinking about different ways of making money, moving into foreign, almost like if you always had a job and then you decide you want to open an Etsy account, this would be a foreign place for you. So I kind of want to open that up and not just make it about a destination, but about going into unfamiliar territory, whether it be in your emotional body, your physical body, your mental body, etc. We also have Neptune and Mars. So we've got a nice stellium in Pisces. I don't know if Mars is in its highest vibration in Pisces because, you know, fire and water create steam. But I do think that right now, this week, it's an opportunity to reflect on how I want to take my actions. This morning, Lucky and I went to go get our morning ritual, my coffee. And on the way back, the traffic lately, and this is what I attribute to the Pluto, people are like crazy on the road. They're not really looking at pedestrians. They're just looking who's in their way to get where they got to go. And this woman drives up, basically almost, you know, cuts Lucky and I off so she can make her right-hand turn. And I was like, oh, there's a bright bulb. And the guy in the passenger seat told me to. So people are very cranky right now. People are very busy. Mercury has gone into Gemini. And when Mercury is in Gemini, and it's about, you know, it's going to go a little ways, like a week or so, and then it's going to go into its storm period before retrograde. But the minute Mercury gets into Gemini, it starts to move quickly. It feels like there's a certain electricity that happens with that. So my point about the story earlier is that with Mars at the 12th degree of Pisces, I thought to myself, part of me wanted to engage that guy and just flip him off back. But instead, I chose to say, thank you. I said thank you because it gave me an opportunity to choose. You can be in a lower energy. You can act like this or that. But do I need to come back at you? This is what I think is going on with me as Pluto squares my Mars and my ascendant for years and years and years. So this week overall, in general, I think to take advantage of the last few days that Jupiter and Venus will be in Pisces, to really allow yourself to think about how you value yourself. If you're being authentic about money, I want to tell you this too. Lately, I've had clients who, when I'm doing readings, they're so engaged in wanting to remove themselves from a challenging situation or something that feels distasteful or something that feels like I don't want to be here anymore. And in the wanting to not be here anymore, I don't think they're really making a, a conscious decision. You know, when you're in pain, you just want to get out of pain. So this time and this Mercury, as we're teeing up for the storm period of Mercury and then moving forward or going backwards again, I feel like because Pluto is going to make a trine to Mercury. And this is going to really give us an opportunity to review where we want to transform how we live our everyday lives, what we're thinking about in our everyday lives. Because if we have been stuck in a loop of lack, in a loop of a victim energy, if we've been, really focused on the challenge, this is an opportunity again to revolutionize ourselves and to see the power of our focus. And if that's the biggest thing and the greatest thing I've ever learned in my aging process is literally when I start to get nervous about resources, I can see where my focus has been. And if it has not been on inviting in abundance, then I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to shift towards inviting in abundance. I really think that Pluto is, Pluto gets sort of a bad rap in that whole death and destruction, but I really think Pluto is that good friend of yours that won't let you bullshit yourself, that says to you, is this true? Is this true? And it's annoying when we want to pretend we're not powerful. It's annoying when we want to pretend that we aren't creating our lives. Yes, we are not 100% the creation in many ways because we have to co-create with the environment, the universe, the structures around us, the parameters of the human experience. But if we pay attention to the people that we deem as successful, we will very much see that even in indecision, even in confusion, even in challenge, they are somehow able to focus in on the end game. And they're tenacious and a bit unyielding is the way I want to work. Unyielding. So there you go. Okay. Good morning, Shelley. Is it Beltane? Is that how you say Beltane? Is that how you say that? I saw that earlier when I was looking at something. All right. Let's go into our readings. As usual, we're going to start with Pisces, work our way towards Aries. And I pulled some tarot cards. So let's see what tarot card we have for Aries. Not Aries, Pisces. When do I ever start with Aries? Small wildflowers. I'm an angry organizer with OCD. I want to say this. If people feel, thank you, Shelley. People feel angry right now. Give yourself a break. It is such a tense time right now. Pluto is hitting all the cardinal signs. It's, even in a sextile or a trine, Pluto is challenging. And it's challenging because it's digging deep to our own co-creation. So as we start to surrender to that co-creation, we can then shift it to work in our favor. So Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And that moon, I'm a big, big fan of that moon. And we're heading towards a lunar eclipse. We just had a solar eclipse. So here we go. Pisces, it's the Hermit. Now, when I look at the Hermit, there's so many things I see. I see Father Time. I see reflection. I see reflection as a way of illumination. I see that this is a path that I must, in many ways, walk alone because it's a path I cannot take with others. And it's interesting, too, because when I look at the environment, having it be so cold, I sort of see that Plutonian energy. Naturally, I would see the Hermit as having a Saturnian energy. But I think today that I want to add to that the Pluto energy of being a little bit cold-hearted about the path I walk so I can allow myself illumination. When I say cold-hearted, I don't mean it in a way that lacks empathy. I mean it in a way that's willing to get real at a deep level. I had this boss years ago when I was 27 years old, and he used to say, Teri, you make a lot of mistakes, but you never make the same mistake twice. And I thought that was a great compliment. And I feel like this is what the Hermit is saying, because if you, Pisces, are willing to go into that 12th house of dream time, really using the Jupiter and Venus conjunction in your house to dig deep into your beliefs about your self-worth, your ability to make money, your ability to live with comfort and enjoy, then this is where I think Spirit is going to start to illuminate a new path for you. And I don't think it has to be one of sorrow. I also want to offer it this way because I can't help but layer on this feeling of Saturn, and Saturn being an evolved version of Saturn. Saturn is, I believe that Saturn has been depicted as very cold-hearted, and yet it represents the father. So for me, I feel like most of us want to have a loving father, and I feel like Saturn is moving into that direction. But at the same time, Saturn is unyielding when it knows what really makes us happy, and we're pretending not to be happy, or we're not moving towards that, down that lane. So I want to offer it this way, to sort of feel as if Spirit is offering you a paternal energy, asking you in some ways to reflect. It may feel slightly oppressive right now, Pisces, meaning it may feel as if it's a little heavy, like a blanket, but I think there's an illumination. And then as we move through this Mercury retrograde, which is going to foster more reflection, and the Pluto retrograde, we're going to get to really shift our lives into more rooted dynamics of what we want to live and experience. Okay, let's go on to our reading with our angels. That's interesting, Welsh, because when we did the live the other day, you got that wasp, remember? I remember you getting the wasp. I don't remember the rest of the reading because yours was the most challenging. So I feel like maybe give yourself a break and don't engage with if anybody who makes you feel stingy or makes you feel doubt about them. All right, let's go on to Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Mystique. The second is Francesca. The third is Akasha. And the final is Xana. I don't wish I was 30 again at all. Not remotely. I want to be my old self in a young body. That's what I'd like, because I don't want to go through what I had to go through and, learning all those lessons. All right, Pisces, Mystique is being joined by the movement card. Francesca is being joined by the letting go card. Akasha is being joined by the frog. And Xana is being joined by the butterfly. Okay, so this beautiful aspect that's been going on with Venus transiting and Jupiter transiting your home, your personal home, I think is really, we know these two planets are very beneficial. So now I feel like the Hermit is asking you to really line up to this deeper, more rooted dynamic that if you can dream it, you can live it. Because I feel like Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions. Here we are coming out of the dark and into the light. And there's the movement card. And I feel like this movement is not quick movement. It doesn't feel like it's rapido movement as much as it's more intuitive and maybe even signs and omens, even though we don't see this here, of the evolution. Because Francesca is saying, what do you visualize right now? Negativity will block your progress, and the letting go card is moving away from fear. So to me, this is actually Pisces starting to really connect with the idea that if I can't focus on the solution, maybe I can just focus on neutral. Because you're being offered a lesson in not releasing emotional baggage per se, because I don't know about releasing. That's why this card turned into the Let It Go song from Frozen. But I do think there is a wisdom to our challenges. And if we're willing to go into this Hermit energy and to see our participation within our co-creation, and then not judge it. Don't criticize it. It's useless to do that. Use it as a piece of information, because in the final position, Pisces is Xana, offering you protection as you blossom. And this feels like Pluto really coming out of that caterpillar and blossoming into a place of feeling much more beauty about the experiences you're living in your life more authentically. And I want to offer it this way too, because Pisces is a mutable sign. So in that cooperation, sometimes we get lost in wanting the other party to validate us. And here, for some reason, this feels like Pisces is starting to see Pisces, and Pisces is validating Pisces, and Pisces is starting to learn that there's only really some wounds are only, you can only heal them so much, and then they're just what they are. You can't get them anymore fixed. So sometimes those scars are actually almost like a road of wisdom. And I really want to offer protection, because both Mystique and the butterfly indicate a journey from the unknown. And I feel like this is really important when to allow yourself to go into your intuitive body and find a trust. Before I even realized I was intuitive, when I was a teenager, a lot of my friends were dying. They were ODing, they were driving off cliffs. I mean, my dad freaked out when I was in high school because so many people died. And I remember sometimes I would get really scared, and I would go into my inner body and I'd be like, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? And then I would get an answer, and I would learn to trust that. I feel like this is important for Pisces as well. Learn to trust that inner knowing. Okay. We're going to go on to our Aquariuses. For some reason, I feel like I wanted to say something, but I don't remember what it was. Oops. Oh, the time machine. That's what I saw. Small's comment. I was watching yesterday. I love to watch the History Channel and all their alien shows, and they had one on time bending. And the thing I like so much is it's all scientists talking about this stuff. It's not just, people hypothesizing. So I feel like this is becoming more and more, as we move more and more into the age of Aquarius, we are going to see science backing up a lot of the theories that are associated with astrology, with spiritual dynamics, that time is circular or secular. They were talking about how time actually, space and time can bend. And so I was just fascinated by all of this. Okay, let's go on to our Aquariuses. I agree, Juan. I think that's yes. And I think that Pisces sometimes, because it is that sign that indicates the soul going back sort of into the collective before it reincarnates, sometimes we don't look at it, we don't understand it as humans as much as we understand the other ones, because it really is that bridge to the other side. Okay. So Aquarius, let's see what's up for you. All right. Here's the Nine of Wands. This is, I don't know, the minute I felt it, it was a feeling of not only being wounded, but not being able to let go of the wound, feeling guarded as a result of the wound, feeling unable to really relax. And Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so we know that that's going to tickle your nerves a bit. But I want to offer it this way for our Aquariuses. Look at all the foliage that's sprouting up at these wands. To me, I feel like the thing this character can't do is allow himself to heal. And I'm not a big fan of that word heal, but here it seems very appropriate, because sometimes when we have experienced challenges, we inadvertently look for the challenge. And in doing so, we kick in the law of attraction, at least our focus. And we can inadvertently make something that would be, what my mom used to say, you're making mountains out of molehills. So I feel like maybe during this time, because we are seeing Uranus going, we are seeing Pluto retrograde. We are seeing these Mercury about to go retrograde. There's a lot of time right now for us to review, are we living our authentic lives? And if for some reason Aquarius has felt defensive or felt attacked by others, I think it's time to allow yourself to really heal. Because if we look at this bandage, it feels very loose. it feels like it's been there a while. It doesn't feel like it's a fresh wound. So maybe he needs to take that bandage off and let the sunshine do what it needs to do to move the story forward. So, Aquarius, I feel like it's time to focus in on what's growing in your life. I feel like if you have any energies of feeling defensive or guarded, to revisit those during this Pluto retrograde, because things can really shift by October, and then Mercury, of course, offering us, review when it goes retrograde. So let's see what the reading is. Where might you be feeling slightly guarded, or still reacting to a wound that may not be current? Oh. Our first angel for Aquarius is Teresa. The second is Sonia. The third is Chantal. And the final is Akasha. Ooh. All right. So the cow was trying to fly out. So that's joining Teresa. Sonia is being joined by the Perception card. Chantal is being joined by the Wind Fairy. And Akasha is being joined by the Birth and the Rebirth card. For me, Teresa is always a card of worrying about other people. What are they going to think? Maybe even in a nurturing way, but more so, it feels like it's hampering me. Now, here I go back to this Nine of Wands, and there's concern and guarding. If you think about the idea that Aquarius is very unique, it rules geniuses, it rules, outside of the box thinking, and in doing so can make us feel very outside, exiled, and feel alien. And I feel as if in order for Aquarius to truly feel abundance, to feel a flow, it's time to stop worrying about the network. And I want to offer it this way, because it's not about being dismissive of those around you, but being able to cut through the muck of what is authentic to you, what liberates you from your co-ruler Saturn's repressive and old traditional energy that no longer serves. This is the big ticket here for Aquarius. It's the old versus the new. It's and for me, I don't want to throw away the baby with the bathwater when it comes to the co-ruler Saturn. I want to take the idea of structure and hard work, but now I want to apply it in a way that is innovative. Because what I think is going on is for Aquarius to start to see a flow, to start to trust a part of you that doesn't really connect to the scientific part of you. It's a little bit more of the space traveler that knows that there's a certain amount of something, but then there's a willingness to be in the unknown. Because I think what Spirit is working on your perception of things. And if you've been caught in anxiety, then you're not listening to your intuition, Aquarius. If you're caught in feeling like you're really, really nervous about something, or that's an indication to go into a quiet place and let the noise calm down and let your intuition rise above. And I say this because when I see Chantal, I don't necessarily think this is a romantic energy. I think this is a way of finding love and appreciation for the way your mind works. And if you've been spending time in a guarded energy, worried about what other people are going to do, say, or think about you, then this is an opportunity to individualize, because Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and here is the rebirth. This is an opportunity to find abundance and to actually, this is how I kind of want to put it for Aquarius. I feel like as a result of shedding any sort of energy that isn't authentic to yourself, feeling as if you are obligated to others, or maybe even you're concerned about their opinion, will they agree or not agree? I feel this is a little bit about now allowing yourself to go where no man has gone before, which is to endeavor something and then let them catch up. Let your rebirth be not only your own teacher, but the teacher for others. I think this is a really The word pivot comes up a lot for me. And it feels as if this is a time when learning how to pivot, not looking at things as if they're trying to pull the rug out from underneath you, but maybe that rug is old and worn out and it's time to get a new rug or put down hardwood floors. There's my metaphor. So Aquarius, overall, if you feel guarded and you feel defensive, look and see if you're basing this on an old energy. If indeed this feels like old habit, I want you to ask yourself, am I too much in my head? Or am I allowing my intuition to tell me something? And instead of paying attention to my actual intuition, I've been thinking it's anxiety. When I first started doing intuitive work, a lot of my hits came through anxiety. They came through feeling scared about things and feeling nervous, which is what propelled me to ask the deeper question, is this true or is it not? I've always felt a very strong connection to God and the angels and feeling as if they were my friends. So when I ask questions, I absolutely expect answers. They do, Lucy Rose. Old habits die hard, but they're also the things that give us the opportunities to feel empowered. Just the acknowledgement of this is an old habit and my willingness to see myself standing here in this co-creation of the old habit gives me an opportunity to shift. Okay, so let's go on to our Capricorns. We have the Five of Wands. This could be competition. It could be mock fighting. If we really look closely at the card, we don't see these gentlemen engaged in battle. You see the guy in the teal tunic, he's carrying the log on his shoulder. The guy in the front with the patterned blue outfit has just got the log in one hand. So in some ways, to me, this represents that things aren't always as they appear to be. And in some ways, I want to offer it this way, because with Pluto transiting Capricorn for the last, 20 years, it feels like, no, it's been less than that, but it's been a lot. Since 2008, there could constantly feel like there has been this mock argument or this feeling of doing things, because there's a bit of chaos in this. This doesn't feel organized to me. It feels a little bit like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. Now, let me say it this way. I don't want to say that's in a way that's negative for Capricorn. I just feel like maybe this Pluto retrograde, especially for those of you that are cardinal signs with those late degrees, but Capricorn in general, look and see, are you really fighting with yourself? Are you fighting with the Saturnian part of yourself that is telling you you should do one thing and maybe you want to do something else? And maybe if you weren't, you would find more cooperation, because this feels clunky. This doesn't feel like battle to me. If these guys are battling, these are the Three Stooges or the Five Stooges, because they're not holding those wands in ways that are aggressive. And all wands have an opportunity for inspiration through the challenge. So I think that the challenge might be for Capricorn is to see where your participation is in focusing in on the chaos in some way. That might be a way I'd put it. All right, here we go. Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Francesca. The third is Sonia. And the final is Bridget. I want to say this too. I don't know why I said two, but as I have come across concepts that would empower me, there's times when I get frustrated with myself that I can't implement them as easily as my mind would tell me I can. And I get frustrated. And if we look at the Five of Wands, we could see frustration here in some level. They don't actually look frustrated with their facial, but I got to imagine carrying those big logs in such oddball ways would feel inefficient and frustrating. So Archangel Uriel is being joined by the spider. Capricorn may be annoyed with the people they're working with the people in their network. Francesca is being joined by the dragon. Sonia is being joined by the history card of the Baird. And the final is Bridget being joined by the hawk. Okay. I feel as if this is an opportunity for Capricorn to really start to look at, you have a certain amount of power over situations and then you don't. And I feel as if, I have my Saturn in Capricorn in a trine in the 10th house. And I'm kind of a rule follower and I'm a rule breaker at the same time. But there's certain things that are deal breakers for me. Like I'm usually on time. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if you're a Capricorn that says you're going to do what you're going to do and other people are not, this frustration feels as if maybe this is an opportunity for you to see where your focus is and to be very calm and I almost feel like don't try to manage this. Capricorn is a leader by nature, and you may try to push your way through this, but this is about calm energy. And when I was watching my little ancient aliens last night, they were talking about dragons, how dragons represent, like it's a very spiritual thing. It's not about fire and breathing fire and being angry, but actually a calm energy, a very benign energy. Because I feel like Sonia and the Baird card are asking you to go, where in your history have you been following the rules? Other people haven't been following the rules and you're paying the price for it and you're pissed off about it. Maybe you're not completely pissed off right now, but as we walk through this Mercury retrograde, if some of your teammates start to feel as if they're not pulling up their weight or they're not communicating properly, because I feel like you've got to pull yourself above the situation and not react. It almost feels as if you let history speak for itself, then the universe will find a way of fixing it for you. Because Bridget is asking you to look deeper, because sometimes, I used to get this boss who would say to me, Teri, it's not that you're not right when you're complaining about all these other people out of balance, but it's how you're doing it. And they got away with murder. Everybody always got away. People who are charming always got away with murder. And when I wasn't charming, I didn't get away with anything. And I didn't get people supporting me, because I feel as if you calm down your frustration a little bit and you move your focus on something else, that the universe will start to give you signs and omens that things will be fixed without you having to move them yourself. This very much feels like this is a period of time where Pluto is, we're looking at the focus of the last degrees of Capricorn. And, to me, these are the degrees where you are mastering the sign. You have been there for a while, and now you're learning how to use that energy as a powerful tool versus something that's pulling you around. So for me, I think this is important for Capricorn to sort of look at, even if you're right, how are you expressing yourself? Because if you're angry or if you're a little condescending, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you're not, I think you're going to see a big shift that you weren't expecting. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't have to do anything here. And that could be an intention that gets set through the calm. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, our tarot card is Justice. This is very Libra for me. It's very, it's one of the tarot cards that speaks the most clearly. But I also kind of get right today, I think to myself that I see the red robe. I feel like this represents my base chakra. I see the cape in green. It's important for me to marry my base chakra with my heart. I feel like the sword is representing focused thought, and the scales are representing the ability to stay balanced and calm. So let's see, because if indeed for my Sagittariuses, I almost want to say Libra. I'm like, no, that's not right. Because there could be something that happens in the way for you that, again, through this sort of calm, I want to take this idea that as Mercury has entered Gemini, everybody's brain starts to move a little bit faster. Everybody's activities feel like they move a little bit quicker. And if indeed something is going on that hasn't felt just and fair, you being calm and staying connected to your heart. And I almost feel like being mindful of not trying to think, but almost feel like I look at this card and I want to breathe more. I don't know why I want to say that. So Sagittarius, are you holding your breath? Are you maybe just, let's see where this Justice card is playing out. I'm assuming as well that if indeed any of you are in a lawsuit, it could have pertained to that, obviously. And that would, again, be cool, be calm, let the universe start to work for you. All right. Sagittarius, our first angel is Indriel. The second is Layla. The third is Mystique. And the final is Archangel Michael. Indriel is being joined by the Mystery card. Layla is being joined by the Focus card. Mystique is being joined by the Truth card. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the Risk card. Okay. When I look at this for Sagittarius, obviously, depending upon how many people watch this, some people could be in a lawsuit, but I think this might be about, Justice card might be about actually sitting back and being fair about what's important to you and allowing yourself the privilege of starting to move that direction. Because Spirit is asking Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums to make choices based on inspirations. The light worker here to me is never something that's special. It feels like a light worker is very much like a singing voice. We all are light workers. How brightly we shine that light is really it's reflected in our consciousness of who and what we are. So I feel like the Justice card is not about making fair choices for somebody else as much as it's about being a little bit more fair with your own choices. You know, the sword is kind of hard to see because it's up against that pillar. And so this is why I'm kind of focusing on the idea that your own thoughts might not be at the forefront, that you might be thinking, you know, if you think about Sagittarius, it's another one of those signs that rules religion. It rules, there's a warmth to it that speaks to humanity, to philosophy, to things bigger than my own individuality. So here, I don't want the individual to get lost somewhere. That's what I think it is. And so now it's about making choices for yourself that can then be inspiring to others, not just yourself. Because here's the focus on your own intentions and what you want. And Mystique in the angel's advice with the Truth card tells me that the best way we can really ever teach others is not to talk about a story, but to live it, to demonstrate it, to be brave within it. Because the final card is Archangel Michael asking you to be courageous and taking a risk for what you want. Now, let's say that you're a person of a certain age. Let's say you're in your late 40s or 50s and you want to go back to school. You want to get that education. Don't let anything stop you. I feel like this is really important for Sagittarius to take this time. And the idea that Pluto and Jupiter and Venus are making a sextile right now. So this is a favorable aspect for transformation about my self-worth and being able to make more money. Expansion. Time to make a risk. Take a risk. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios. All right, Scorpio, let's see what your tarot card is. The Page of Pentacles. This is the infusion of the material. This is where we start to see things come into the physical experience that gives them, I guess what I feel like it gives it a certain reality. So let's see what this is about for you, Scorpio. What's going to come into the physical for you? Thank you, Lucy. I got to tell you, I'm really, you know, the older I get, the more I have appreciation for the era with which I grew up in. And the more traumatized I am by people who say, "Oh, you're from the 1900s?" And I think how far we are into the 2000s now. It's kind of crazy. All right. Let's see, Scorpio. What is this Page of Pentacles is about? What's coming into the physical? Seraphina talks about a happy change to your family. Isaiah talks about new beginnings. Athena says it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. And there's Shanti, the angel of peace. Money, yeah, we like money, right? Seraphina is being joined by the protection card. Isaiah is being joined by the spider. Athena's being joined by the love card. And Shanti is being joined by the wealth card. I want to offer it this way because when I think about Pluto ruling Scorpio in general, you know, that's a transformational life. You've chosen something where you've picked a planet to be your ruling planet that is not superficial at all. Something that is savory and intense. And, you know, I think of it as the detective, the profiler. Lately, I keep seeing Columbo when I see Scorpio. It's like this detective that is brilliant, but you're never really, you don't really know where that brilliance comes from sometimes. Because I want to offer it this way. I think that Scorpio, it's time to start to have this idea that you are being protected. You don't need to be a family of 12, a family of 4, a family of, you can be a family of 1. But it's time for you to start to think that you're working in coordination with the universe. That somehow there are things that are going on that are beyond your ability to see with your eyes. And I also feel like it's time to give life to new people, new situations in the form of networking for you to make more money. So let me tell you what I did this last couple of weeks. I don't know if you guys are hitting the notification bell, but this last couple of weeks I produced like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 videos. And then I got inspired by Spirit to take the solar eclipse video and to put an ad on Instagram. And that was very powerful. It brought a lot of new subscribers to my channel. And I feel like that would be very Page of Pentacles. So if indeed you are concerned about, you know, spending any money in order to promote your businesses, your ability to create finances in your life, work, you know, if you need to put a bit of an investment in yourself in order to move your story forward, I think you're being protected because it's time for you to give birth to new ideas and in new ways of networking. And here's Athena saying it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. And here's the love card. And I want to offer it this way because when it comes to the Page of Pentacles, somehow this feels like it's not about relationships, but it's about moving. It's weird because this ends in the peace card. So I kind of think it has to do with money, but the money feels more like a validation of your worth. Let me put it that way, if that makes sense. Because there's something about the feeling of you, Scorpio, endeavoring something, and it could be endeavoring going to your boss and, you know, pitching an idea and they like it, and then you pitch yourself some sort of bonus structure or some sort of win-win. And I do think this is an important quality moving forward in the work environment where employers and employees, entrepreneurs are going to create win-wins. So for my Scorpios, overall, I think that you're birthing something in the material that will make you feel more impactful within your own life. I feel as if part of this is opening up your network, opening up. Maybe it's about cross-pollinating on the various platforms. There's new platforms I don't even know the names of, but I would open that up because I believe the wealth card is reflective of your expansion with money and bringing more peace of mind to you. Scorpio rules millionaires and billionaires. We can never forget that. And when we remember that, we can truly transform that Plutonian energy into something we inherit, to something we create. And I think that's important. It's funny. I've never done an ad ever on Instagram, and I don't even know what made me do it. It's just like I get these weird inspirations, and it was really weird too, because a few different events happened at the same time, and I wasn't sure, what was creating all the hubbub. But boy, it was fun to experience it. So let's go on to our Libras. Libra. Okay. Mars in Capricorn, that's what the Three of Pentacles is. This is contracts, movement in your work environment. This is creating teams. This also refers to a certain amount of entrepreneurship and collaboration. So let's see what's going to go on here for you, Libras. When I think about the idea that, here goes Pluto again, heading towards my ascendant, gonna square my Mars and my ascendant now. And, I've kind of become nonplussed about it. At first, I was a little nervous I was going to drop dead or something's going to happen. And then I started to realize, oh no, I'm coming into cooperation with something about myself. There's something, my Pluto in my natal chart is in favorable aspects to many, many things, more favorable aspects than it is challenging aspects. So there feels like there's something about Libra that gets to surrender to a bigger knowing of who you are and what you are in partnerships and cooperation. And part of your job is the given exchange of ideas and not to be afraid to speak up in some ways and also to learn. Okay. Libra, our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Crystal. And the final is Maya. I think sometimes it's hard to be a Libra because you represent so many things that the human deems as favorable that it almost feels like a bar that might be too high for the human to actually be able to reach at all times. You represent diplomacy and fairness and beauty and art and partnership, all of their highest vibration. And I can imagine that, Libra sometimes can be the type that wants things to look good. And on the inside, there's still a feeling of discontent. So Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Love card. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Truth card. Crystal's being joined by the Frog, and Maya's being joined by the Focus card. Okay. Libra being a partnership sign, even though Libra can be very powerful, Libra can also be dependent and codependent. And what if right now, in certain situations, maybe you're depending too much? I can't help but think of this guy here up on the bench, looking down at these two people going, what should I do next? What should I do next? I mean, I could look at it as him advising them. This is what I want to do next. But now I have Archangel Uriel representing frustration. And then there's the Love card. And I feel as if there's the potential that Libra may be waiting for somebody to give them instruction. And it is time for you to dig deeper. You don't need that instruction. Maybe it's time for you to have compassion as you dig to a deeper truth. And I want to offer it this way. Because the access of Libra and Aries in the nodal structure is about being able to be a certain amount of independence and yet cooperative in relationships. Because when I look at this, I feel as if Libra is somehow disempowering themselves. And now Spirit is saying, oh, no, this is time for you to see bigger. Libra may think, oh, I want to partner up in order to achieve this. And yet at the same time, maybe you would be more successful to allow yourself the endeavor. And then once you feel a certain amount of success, revisit the idea of partnerships, because Crystal is saying, have faith and hope there's more on the horizon. And this is the emotional baggage, the cleanup card. But the frog is also a very abundant animal. And I think the truth that you have compassion for is maybe you don't need others as much as you think you do. And even though you want to feel that sense of partnership to move forward, what you're learning about is really your focus. And in doing so, you bring more empowerment to yourself, more feelings of equality within relationship. That's a little bit of the shadow side of the Libra energy, is to feel dependent. So we want to get this sort of balance going on here. So in your partnerships, because this is Mars in Capricorn, in my little book that teaches me about astrology and the tarot together. And yet it's the three, the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, being in cooperation with how you want to take action and not being frustrated with others who may be dragging their feet, because you may inadvertently default to them being more powerful than you are. And Spirit is trying to teach you that your focus and your willingness to be brave in your own power will then bring more power within the partnership and more balance. That's how I'm going. That's where I'm going with that. Let's go on to our Virgos. Our tarot card, Virgo, is the Eight of Swords. Okay. So this is, I'll say this is a little bit of a challenging card. Eight of Swords represents the mutable air, which is Gemini. There is this, if you look carefully at the card, you can see that the things that are bounding this character are not tight. They are not restrictive, that this person is in some ways allowing themselves to be bound. And then if we look at the 8, we're looking at a number, to me, that is a number of abundance. So a little bit about here, how am I part of the wall of thought? Part of the wall of thought that is in some ways holding me back. Because if you look at her feet, it's not even sure if she's standing completely solid on that surface, whether it be water or land. So this is a card, some ways, of confusion. To me, it's almost knowing something and not wanting to see something. And let's see, because Pluto, this retrograde, and then Mercury coming in, which is your ruling planet, Virgo, is going to ask for reflection and transformation. And it really doesn't have to be destructive. I sometimes think the more authentic we are in our willingness to surrender to a deeper knowing, that it makes it easier to go through the journey. All right, let's see. Yes, she does look a little bit like she's levitating, Juan. For me, I can see myself a lot in that Eight of Swords, because oftentimes I can get stuck in a way of thinking that traps myself in a victim-y energy that isn't necessary anymore. And that's when I have to recognize a habit of thought. All right, Virgo, let's see what we're doing here. Our first angel is Rochelle, the angel of the heart. The second is Akasha, the teacher. The third is Chantal, love. And the final is Teresa. Well, there you go. If there's one thing I think is a little bit on the axis is Virgo. There's nothing in the Virgo energy, maybe the pets part, but Virgo, always we think of work, employment, duty, practicality, dependability. And here it feels almost like now maybe Virgo's been trapping themselves in their duty, in what they think is expected of them. Good for you. I like it. So Rochelle is being joined by the forgiveness card. Akasha's being joined by the hawk. Chantel's being joined by the frog. And Teresa's being joined by the protection card. Okay, Virgo, I'm just going to straight up say it. I feel like this big Eight of Swords is all about trapping yourself in your thought that you have to work, 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 or do this or clean that, or, all those chores. And now it's time for you to just follow your heart. It doesn't matter what that is. It doesn't matter if you enjoy reading, if you enjoy going out, if you enjoy staying in. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all about you. And that forgiveness card isn't about forgiveness. It's about the reconciliation that when I honor my heart, I'm actually probably better for those around me. I'm probably less burdened. And in the protection card makes me feel like I'm not becoming Virgo, in its low energy can become critical. And if Virgo is holding up too much responsibility, it could inadvertently look at those around and say, well, you're not doing anything. I have to do everything. So as you allow Rochelle's energy to let you off the hook, because you're being taught by Akasha to see above the situation. Are you taking care of you? Because I think this is all about self-love, and this is a way of cleaning up your mind. And let me offer it this way. There's a balancing act between giving to yourself and your attitude about going back into dutiful situations. It's almost as if by allowing themselves to have fun, they can wiggle out of these ribbons that are kind of putting this character between the solid ground and the water. So this would be, what's expected of me in the practical world and what I feel on the inside. And the more you honor that balance, it's never about, because I don't think Virgo would feel comfortable just throwing everything away. Like I can't do, I need to do my work. I'm kind of like this. I don't like to go to bed with the dishes dirty. And sometimes I'm tired. So even if I'm tired, I'll make sure that they're sitting neatly in the sink. I don't know why I'm like that, but I think that's kind of Virgonian. So here somewhere it's about honoring what you need to make yourself feel comfortable, but also honoring this frivolous, playful, naive maiden's energy as well. And so when and we'll talk about this more next week, but Mercury's going to start the shadow period this week. So if your ruling planet feels like it's slowing you down, or you feel like you're getting blocks in some way, ask yourself, Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, do I really need to worry about this right now? Or do I need to push this over the line? Or am I just trying to push it over the line so in my mind, I can get it off my to-do list? Maybe there's something about leaving it alone and just going off to do something else and it will fix itself. That's what I want to say. It's almost like people will get things done that you didn't think would get done. All right, let's go. On to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our tarot card is, hey, Josh, good to see you. All right, Leo, don't panic, okay? We have the Three of Swords. Now, I want to offer this because this Three of Swords, while it initially looks a little rough, it's actually not as rough as it seems. If we look at the swords, there is a very clean piercing. If we look around the heart, there's no blood, nothing's ripped apart, nothing's dripping. And there is this white sort of aura. And it's a lot about perception and perspective, and to allow where you have felt your heart broken, betrayed. This feels like betrayal to me. It does. But we're going to see where this falls in, because I don't feel like this has to be super negative. It may be because Leo has the challenge of following their heart. Each one of the signs rules a different part of the body. And in the leadership of Leo, the sun rules the heart. And sometimes the heart's hard to follow because it is different than the group or the crowd. And so there may be a feeling of being abandoned or betrayed if you follow your heart. So let's see how the angels want to define where this is going. Our first angel is Crystal. The second is Akasha. The third is Yvonne. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Crystal is being joined by the love card. Akasha is being joined by the fear card. Yvonne is being joined by the truth. And Merlin is being joined by Archangel Gabriel. Okay. You know, I want to say this, Leo, it's kind of interesting because I don't want to make, the Three of Swords, some cards are just scary. They just, you initially see them and the first thought is, oh no. So when we see this, if we're looking at the traditional tarot lady that's sitting on Venice Beach trying to juice you for all your money, she's going to tell you there's betrayal. She's going to tell you there's another person involved. She's going to tell you that what is hitting the fan. Leo, this Three Swords to me feels a little bit now like I got to start to think about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I got to start to think about love in a way that is observant. Am I truly, and because I can't help, that heart is telling me that something's going on inside your heart. And I don't know if it has to do with love of another human being or love of what you want to express in the world and what you want to, your individual creativity, if you want to bring children into the world, because there's that in this house as well. But Crystal's saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon, and there's the love card. And if you have been building your house on sand and you've been trying to pretend that a situation would work when it won't, then you may be feeling Pluto's influence and Saturn, because Saturn's been going through Aquarius opposing Leo. And it may be really bringing in this repression, but it's meant to teach you something. And I want to offer this too, because if you've been dumbing down, if you've been in a relationship that isn't really serving your deeper happiness and truth, then it's time to be vulnerable to your truth and time to allow yourself this idea of saying, do I want to have the marker? Do I want to have the title? Or do I want to have the meat and potatoes that nobody sees on the inside? Because here's Archangel Gabriel asking you not to be insecure, to be mindful of your thoughts, Leo. And then here's the promise of justice, alchemy, and balance in love. So let me just say it straight up. If you have experienced a Plutonian breakup, and a lot of people have, with any love relationship, I can even say this could be familiar in some way, meaning it could be with someone in your family. I feel like there's a bigger picture going on. And maybe if indeed there's not, I kind of want to put it this way, Leo, if indeed this is in an intimate relationship, then you have been dumbing down somehow, and there's a better relationship ahead for you, something more authentic for you to express yourself and be yourself. If indeed this has something to do with a love relationship with a family member or a friend, then maybe giving it a little distance will open up an opportunity for people to have a different sight about it, a different perception about it, because somewhere I think something better is happening. And those kind of things where you have those situations and you're like, oh my God, I wanted this so bad and I didn't get it. And then in hindsight, you're like, oh my gosh, if I would have gotten what I thought I wanted, I wouldn't have gotten what was so much better. And that's what I think is going on. So surrender in some situation, in your mind's eye, surrender in your heart, that if for some reason something feels like it's breaking up and there's an attachment of my heart has been dinged by this, I think it's now Leo's job to say, was my heart being filled with it at all? Or was I just kind of hoping it would be filled? Because something's coming that's much better. Merlin always brings great things. And I want to offer it this way, because oftentimes it's our challenges that we walk through. And then the reconciliation of those challenges is the greatest service we do for others because they witness it and it inspires them. So, all right, let's go on to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. That was a little bit tough. All right. One more little sip. Exactly, Josh. Believing is seeing. Okay. For our Cancers, the Hanged Man. Again, this is one of those cards that initially people see and they have a little bit of a, but I want to offer it this way. The Hanged Man represents the energy of Neptune. There is a pause and a reflection as represented by the 12th house. And through that, there is illumination. So for my Cancers, I feel as if, we're talking about Pluto opposing your house. We all have troubles. I mean, we all have this Pluto energy, but in some ways, the opposition feels like something is stopping me. When I think about a square, I think I'm participating in the friction in some way. But when I think about an opposition, it's like something outside is a roadblock, is a stumbling block. And I feel as if for my Cancers, it could be the stumbling block, could be the worry that Pluto can instill in us. And by giving it a pause, by allowing yourself an opportunity to not even reflect, but to try to quiet your mind, inspiration, an epiphany, something will come through that will make sense. I'll be like, oh, I get it now. A lot of that's coming up, by the way. A lot of this, oh, I get it. And I think that's what these eclipses are going to be about. I just got chills everywhere. I think there's a lot of things that are happening that we've looked at in sort of like Columbus, the world is flat. And then as we get further and further out to sea, and sea being our emotional, intuitive bodies, we'll recognize that, oh, there's more going on. Okay, Cancer. What is this reflection about? Teresa is about worry. Ivana is about vulnerability. Opal is about our children. And then Layla is about our intention and connection to spirit. All right, here we go. All right, Cancer. Teresa's being joined by the cow. Ivana is being joined by the water fairy. Opal is being joined by the perception card. And Layla is being joined by the trust card. Worry is a form of prayer that does not serve you. It puts your attention and intention in the very experience you don't want to have. So when I look at the cow and I look at Teresa, I feel as if I'm seeing, like, I'm 30 something years old. I can't find my mate. I want to get married. I want to have a family, and I'm struggling with it. And all I can do is get more and more worked up about that struggle. And I feel as if this is exactly the wrong platform for manifestation. So here we go. Teresa's about worry. And there's the cow, abundance, asking and receiving. We need a pause for an illumination. I want to offer this to my Cancers. Sometimes Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, it's not about your own efforts. Sometimes there is part of us that has to allow the other person to have an epiphany. And if we worry too much about whether we will receive that communication from them, or that validation, or that give and take from them, we are a little bit of a block. So I want to offer it this way, because Ivana is about vulnerability in your emotional body. And this vulnerability comes from the going back and forth of that. I think Cancer is super intuitive, and that sparks a sense of vulnerability within them, because sometimes they will nurture out of balance, meaning if I love you and I pay and I'm good to you, you'll be good back to me. But then there's this inner knowing that that other person may be more focused on themselves. And I feel sometimes that part of Cancer's job is to be mindful of the nurturing. And if the nurturing is coming from an authentic place, or whether it is sort of wanting to give so it will get back. Because Opal is about God and the angels watching over you and your deepest desires from the inside out, from your soul. And here's your perception card. And I think right now, the vulnerability comes from the deeper knowing that if you've been engaging in relationships that aren't really aligned to what you want, or you've been hoping for something, and then there's this little back thought that's telling you doubt, 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 it's about giving that doubt back up to spirit. And in a way that feels very authentic. I'm in my human body. I don't know how to not worry. Help me to feel more strong in my intention and to trust more, because Layla is asking you to focus in on what you want, and the trust card is a bigger picture of things. So let me just break this down. Let's say that you've been dating someone and they're okay. You're like, oh, I like this about them. I like this about them. Oh, but they smoke and I don't like smoking. I'm just going to use that as an example. But, oh, they're so cute, or they're so this, or they're so that, but I don't like that smoking. And then you think, oh, I can get over that smoking part. I'll tell you, I'm an ex-smoker and I can't get over it. I can't stand the smell of cigarettes anymore. So that would be a deal breaker for me. But with Cancer, there's somewhere that I feel as if you're being vulnerable to something and you're not assessing it in a way that gives you power in your own value. And I feel as if indeed you're cutting the edges off of something because you're thinking, oh, I'm getting, this is happening and that, and you're feeling a little insecure. And so you're willing to take something that's less than what you really want. Spirit's going to stop that. Spirit's going to say, no, I don't think so. Because here you are evolving as well. And one of the things that Cancer is evolving is to trust that nurturing energy, that intuitive body of yours is as strong as you nurture and trust your own intuition for yourself. It's a give and take. So ultimately, you don't need to worry about whether or not you'll receive the love that you want and the community that you want. It's your job now to trust that Spirit is delivering the biggest picture of what you want, not a dumbed down 2.0 version that isn't aligned. It's kind of like you're telling Spirit, I want butter. Give me real butter. And then margarine comes in and you're like, margarine's okay. God, if I eat this enough, I'll get used to it and I'll forget how good butter is. And then Spirit's like, oh dear God, she wanted butter. Do you get it? I can't believe it's not butter. Exactly. All right, let's go on to our Geminis, rising, moon, sun, and stallions. All right. Our tarot card is the Lovers, which actually represents Gemini. So isn't this fabulous? This is another one of those cards that when you're young and you go to a tarot card reader and this comes out, you get really excited, right? And it's kind of funny because it's not a card to get that excited about. It's about choice. This is not like bestowing lovers on you, although it can represent lovers, but it represents the twins. It represents vulnerability. There's Archangel Gabriel above with the eyes closed. There's a Jesus take the wheel feeling in this card. And it's also very reflective of the idea that I must be vulnerable to my choices in order to feel the love that I want, not only from someone else, but for myself. Love from another person is only as warm and fuzzy as our ability to take that love in. So let's see, because we do have Gemini, we have your ruling planet going retrograde next week on the 10th. So it's going to start the storm period, or the slowing down period of reflection. And I want to offer it this way, because within this card, every one of the characters has their arms open. There is a sense of surrender in this situation. And I feel like the surrender is not about giving up in a in a powerless way, but rather understanding a bigger picture. So let's see what this choice is about. Rochelle says to follow your heart, Gemini. Desiree is talking about conditions. Fiona is saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. Okay, I feel a baton pass with Gemini. So following your heart could be just the beginning of opening up your mind to new ideas. I think the Devil card is actually the card represents for me an energy of self. You're bounding yourself up. If you look carefully at the Devil card in the traditional Rider-Waite, the Devil's not holding the characters. The characters can take those chains off. So, all right, Gemini. Rochelle is being joined by the dog. Unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. Desiree is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. Fiona is being joined by the disruption card. And Isabella is being joined by the death card. Okay, I can take this in so many ways. Gemini, number one, first thing I want to say is, while we got the Lovers card, I definitely feel this Geminian energy has to do with my everyday activities, the things that are Geminian, my workmates, my teammates, how I'm spending my day. How the thoughts that I am purporting during the day, the way that I'm operating. And I almost want to say slow down a little bit, Gemini, because I did my webinar yesterday, and when I was done, I had this really weird feeling, and 5 or 6 hours, it must have been like 6 or 7 o'clock, I finally get a notification from Microsoft that one of the email addresses was wrong, and I was mortified. And that's why I want to say, if I would have slowed down, I would have seen the mistake. Because I feel like right now the mistake is not about crossing your T's and dotting your I's, but slow down to figure out what your heart really wants. And I mean this in a way where you may go, no, I know what it wants. I know what it wants. And I'm like, no, you don't. You think you know what it wants because you're running on everyday activities and you're somehow perceiving it through those everyday activities. I need to slow that roll down so that I can really dig deep and offer in this new birth. Because Desiree is saying that conditions aren't favorable exactly for the rebirth, because I don't think Gemini is completely in their heart yet. And when I say the heart, this is really where the human gets tripped up, because the human goes, but my heart has never experienced anything like that, so I don't know how it's going to happen. Your job is not to know the how. Your job is to be able to put that intention to the universe and then allow the universe to show you how through inspired action. Because there could be a disruption coming for Gemini, because you've actually called forth something that you're afraid to take action on. So a disruption will take place in order to facilitate it, because I can't help but think you're definitely going through a rebirth. There's the death card, and Isabella is saying you will be more happy as a result of this. You know, we as humans tend to gauge everything on how we pay our bills. I need this amount of money. I need this insurance. I'm getting to be this age. And the mercurial ruled people really get anchored into that idea. And I think part of the reason that you've chosen this life path is so that you could find the balance between the heart and the mind. And right now, I think Spirit is asking Gemini to be absolutely loyal to yourselves, to, rather than trying to go take action. Again, we have this dynamic today and for the next few days, because the planets aren't going to move that fast. Pluto is making a sextile to Jupiter and Venus. This gives you an opportunity to really kind of revisit your beliefs about money and allow Pluto to transform you in a good way. So rather than saying, I don't know how this is going to happen, it's like, okay, Spirit, if I had all the money in the world, or if I had this is what I would enjoy. And saying to Spirit, I don't enjoy sitting around. I actually enjoy working, or I enjoy this, but I want to feel the validation and the appreciation from my coworkers. I want to feel like I'm not being just juiced. Because something about this is surrendering to a bigger picture. And there's a part of me that feels like you can't decide one way or the other. It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And maybe if you don't look at either devil, but just go to your heart, the answer will be revealed to you. All right, here we go. That's what I want to say for my Geminis. Something to do in the work environment. I don't think it has to do with physical intimacy, love relationships there. Okay. Here we go. On to our Tauruses. By the way, that little eclipse was 1 degree away from my moon. I'm tired. All right, Taurus. Our tarot card is the 3 of Cups. This is lovely. Lovely, lovely. Now let me offer this too, because this is feminine friendships and celebration. We see the bounty under their feet, but it also represents the 3 phases of the woman. The naive, or how should I say it? The maiden, the mother, and the crone. And what I think that this is about Taurus sort of celebrating the wisdom and the growth that they have experienced as Uranus has been transiting your house. And we still got a ways to go, but I think there's a bigger wisdom here. So let's see. Venus in Taurus is lovely. Would be the ruler of the planet in that sign. Lucky has Venus in Taurus too. And he has Jupiter in Taurus, and he's a foodie like crazy. All right, here we go, Taurus. Oop. Our first angel for Taurus is Astera, saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. Oceana is here in the opportunity or the obstacle. Serena is in the angel's advice, and Mystique is in the final position. Being a Taurus moon and being of a certain age, as confident as I may appear to the outside world, and I am overall a confident person, but there's times I tell myself stories and I hold myself small. And when I look at this right now, I feel as if Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, this is a time to celebrate your evolution and to hold yourself in a place where you actually root in to your own evolution and start to acknowledge it in a way. And instead of being the sign that rules insecurity, that you rule security. Because Astera says to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, and the swan is showing your transformation from the ugly duckling. And this is to be celebrated. Because Oceana is being joined. Up until now, I think that you have not followed your heart. And I want to offer this as your heart. You're good enough. You're capable enough. And when you align to what it is you really want, you have the ingredients to make things happen. So as you move in a new direction, because this is what I want to say, there's something about my Taurus moon that feels as if, and I'm a Libra sun, so sometimes I think I endeavor partnerships, not because I think that I need a partner, but sometimes I just feel like I'm naturally predisposed that if somebody is with me, I'm stronger. And then if I'm honest with myself, when I'm in a partnership, sometimes I'm overly strong. My Aries takes over and I become a little dominant. So I want to offer it this way, because when I look at this transformation, I feel like the awareness of this within myself doesn't make it at its 10 level, but makes it maybe at a 5 or an 8. And so I don't need to keep viewing myself in the same way. I get to view myself through transformation and also take the things I like about my bullish energy and hold on to them rather than throwing them out. Because this is where I'm going. I think that there is, when we think of the fable of the swan, the ugly duckling, there was a big unknowing of the beauty and of the transformation that character was about to go through. And I think that it's so important for Uranus to allow you to be liberated and for you to keep your eye on the prize, because I think that maybe you have not really been stretching yourself to your soul's destiny, to what you've really called forth in this lifetime. Because in getting into this physical experience may have triggered some of those Taurian things that say, I need to make sure I'm secure. But here's Spirit saying, you will always be fine. Your job is to be serene and to continue to move in directions that are more authentic to who you are. The horse is very Sagittarian to me. It's very much about accepting help from Spirit and allowing myself to be inspired, because again, we're talking, the world is in a very disruptive place. I'm absolutely believe we're going to have more disruption coming, but the disruption doesn't have to be bad. Sometimes when you get kicked out of one situation, it makes another situation fabulous. So Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions. And on some level, I want to offer this disruption is what helps you move. There's a situation in my life that I think I hold myself small. And I keep, thinking I'm recognizing that situation. I keep thinking I'm being authentic about it. And yet I still see myself wanting to tuck under that situation and be supported by it. And I don't think that it's actually as supportive as my physical mind imagines it to be. And so Spirit keeps pulling it away from me. They keep making it, it's not aligning. And I think because ultimately, if that situation aligned, I would feel this much power in my own creation. But if I continue to reach for the stars, I'll feel this much. That's where I'm going with. So Taurus, there's more for you than you can see. And it's time to not focus on where you've been or where you're going, but to celebrate your evolution, to celebrate your willingness to transform, to not judge anything one way or the other, and then to continue to ask Spirit to give you the courage and the tenacity to walk through whatever disruptions appear to be snags or speed bumps, because they're going to end up being the manure that makes your garden grow. They're going to be something that actually, the best way I can describe it is the day that I decided to work for myself. I had no idea that morning when I woke up that I was going to do that. I just got really angry and pissed off, and I quit my job. And when I quit my job, I was like, all right, Spirit, if I'm meant to do this work, then let's get it on. Let's go. And I'm going to be brave. And here it is 8 years later. Time to be brave, Taurus. Time to be brave. Time to be celebratory in all that's come before, because it all makes sense if we look at the bigger picture. All right, here we go. On to our final sign, Aries. My lovely Aries. We have the Libran indecision. This. We've got a lot going on here, I want to say it this way, because a lot of the signs have been getting the swords today. A lot of what we're seeing is this inability to see forward, to see the landscape, having to go to a deeper place of trusting and inner knowing. And I want to offer it this way, because that inner knowing is not giving you security. It's connecting you to your soul that knows that any trial, any tribulation you walk through has the ingredients to empower you to be a hero in your own life. And this Two of Swords represents a Libran energy, where I have to stop for a minute and literally take a rest from my mind. Because the thing I notice the most about this is the moon in the background. The moon is neither full nor is it new. So there's still information from my soul, from my interior body, that needs to be revealed. And until I quiet my mind and balance my mind, I'm not going to be able to tap into that information. And Aries, one of the things that you tend to want to do is take action. Let's just go. Let's move along. And so this is why I kind of think when I see Saturn and Mars together, a lot of people think, oh no, I think this is good, because I feel like Saturn is teaching Mars to be a wise warrior, to be the peaceful warrior, to be more like, David Carradine in Kung Fu. You don't see this kick-ass guy coming because he's so unassuming. All right, here we go, Aries. Let's see what's going on. Our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Rochelle. The third is Desiree. And the final is Opal. Very interesting. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the hawk. Rochelle is being joined by Merlin. Desiree is being joined by the truth card. And Opal's being joined by the disruption card. Okay, so this is how I'm going to put this. Aries, I'm an Aries rising. I feel more Aries than I do anything else in my life. We're talking that, anybody with Aries at 26 degrees or later is going to feel this retrograde squaring them from Pluto. We're at those last degrees that are asking us to master ourselves in the sense of our authenticity. So I want to offer this because I think that there's the potential that Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums might be endeavoring things that they think they want, and they may not want them. And let me offer it this way. Let's say, earlier I inferred that, potentially of wanting a partner. I was looking, I think that was Taurus, in order to move a story forward. And what if for some reason Aries was to endeavor a group effort, but then you would be dumbing down your resources? Because I feel as if there's an independent entrepreneurial energy that is wobbling for Aries right now. And it could be because of the squares from Pluto. It could be, there's about to be a lot of energy going into Aries. When Jupiter moves into Aries and Venus moves into Aries, things are going to shift. And I think Jupiter is going to be in Aries for quite some time, longer than normal. So I feel as if this is a time to really dig deep into your thought process, to really allow that moon to come to its full fruition as I take a pause and balance my thoughts, because I need to rise above my everyday activities and the noise and the chatter in my mind and get down to what I really want. So let me offer it this way, because, I've been, I remember somebody proposed me going on one of those psychic phone lines. And they're like, we'll give you, 100 leads a week. And then they were going to pay me like $1. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Because overall, I trust my own ability to create money. So I feel like Aries, there's a part of you that gets to look at things from your heart's point of view. Allow the entrepreneur, the pioneer, the courageous, the brave one to start to birth this idea that can be implemented when these other planets go into Aries, which is not far off, because Spirit is saying it's time for you to get down to the truth. And the truth is, you may think you want one thing, but you really only want it at a certain level, and then you want your own independence. And if you connect to the other thing, it may not be the way you think it's going to be. It may trap you. That's what I'm trying to say. Because interestingly enough, I kind of feel like you're not going to get what you want, but it's almost so you can get what you want. Desiree Opal is about God being in charge of our children in heaven and earth. This is your inner child. And there's the disruption card in direct relation to Archangel Gabriel and the hawk. And I think that there's something about Aries floating between trusting their own ability to create and not. It's almost as if they want to be independent, but I want to start off with other people helping me, and then I'll be independent. And I think maybe that's where you're tripping yourself up. It's not about one way or the other. I feel like it's about slowing it down. It's almost as if I want to say, Aries, I know meditation may be hard for you, so go for a run. Let your physical body become a meditation so you can work that physicalness out, and then you'll be able to see above the situation, so you can come from your heart, so that you don't start to build something on a truth that is only a half truth versus a whole truth. And if for some reason, because I'm going to do a clarification card on the disruption, there's a rebirth coming. That's what I think. And I've thought it all along. And I want to offer it this way, because I think this is an opportunity to rewrite Aries from the warrior that has impatience and is blunt and is forceful, to the peaceful warrior that understands how to use their power and only uses it in such a way that supports and uplifts. That's the way I want to say it. All right, everybody. That's it for this week. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being my loyal tribe members and supporting me. It means the world to me. I hope you're enjoying the content I'm putting out. I'm going to be putting out a lunar eclipse video probably within the next few days, hopefully by the end of this week. And then I'll be back next Sunday with more Traversing the Transits with Teri Hunter. Love you guys so much. Have a wonderful week. Be gentle with yourselves and dig deep into your hearts, because this conjunction between Jupiter and Venus supports that. All right, everybody. Peace out.